Hello, and welcome back to Classic Times. Today, I'll be going through stage 22 of the Cambridge Latin course, and I'll be explaining the topics of perfect active participles and more uses of the genitive. Okay, let's begin. Perfect active participles. So like the PPP, which we met last video, the PAP is an adjective and needs to agree in number, case and gender with the noun that it describes. PAPs look like PPPs, however, there's a list, which we'll have a look at on the next slide, which needs to be learnt separately. Sorry about that. The only difference between PAPs and PPPs is that perfect active participles are translated as having something as opposed to having been. For example, femina ad willam regressa ser was vituperabat. This means the woman, having returned to the house, was blaming the slaves. Okay, so now let's have a look at the aforementioned list of perfect active participles which you need to learn. Adeptus, having obtained. Conatus, having tried. Profectus, having set out. Egressus, having left. Hortatus, having encouraged. Ingressus, having entered. Conspicatus, having caught sight of. Passus, having suffered. Precatus, having prayed. Locutus, having spoken. Secutus, having followed. Regressus, having returned. And progressus, having advanced. Feel free to pause the video if you want to reread those and or make a note of them to test yourself later. So let's briefly move on from the PAP and have a look at more uses of the genitive case. So as you'll already know, the genitive is used to express possession. It can also be used in a genitive of quantity, which includes a word indicating quantity plus a noun in the genitive case. For example, satis pecuniae, meaning enough money, and multum cibi, more food. So notice in both of these examples there is a quantifier, satis in the first example and multum in the second example, followed by a noun in the genitive. And finally, before we move on, here is the quick table of the common quantifiers which you'll have paired with a noun in the genitive. Nimium, too much. Plus, more. Multum, much. Nihil means nothing. And satis is enough. So now let's move on and have a look at the other use of the genitive of quality. So the genitive is also used for descriptive phrases, referring to a person's attributes. A noun is described by another noun and an adjective in the genitive case, and this makes up a genitive of quality. For example, femina magnae dignitatis, a woman of great importance. So notice you have the noun being described, femina in this case, another noun, dignitatis, meaning importance, and an adjective in the genitive case, magnae. Right, we've now covered the grammar, so it's time for the vocabulary, as always. Adeptus, having obtained. Amor, love. Caelum, sky. Decipere, to deceive. Eligere, to choose. Fundere, to pour. Hostis is an enemy. Iactare, to throw. Incipere, to begin. Ingressus, having entered. Lacrima is a tear. Minimus means very little. Monere, to warn. Nox means night. Parcere, to spare. Procatus, having prayed. Quantus, how big. Quomodo, how or in what way. Tutus, safe. Verbum is a word. Vertus means courage, and vitare means to avoid. Now let's have a look at some examples of the PAP. Quintus triclinium ingressus, canam consumpsit. Quintus, having entered the dining room, ate the dinner. Puellae e tabernis egressae, domum redierant. The girls, having left from the shops, returned home. Ancilla annulum aureum conspicata risit. The slave girl, having caught sight of the gold ring, smiled. And notice in all of these examples how the perfect active participle, highlighted in bold, has been translated with the word having. So now let's have a look at some more examples, but this time using the genitive. Plus sanguine, more blood. Nimium vini, too much wine. Vir sumai virtutis, a man of the highest courage. Puella minimi prudentiae, a girl of very little sense. So the first two examples use the genitive of quantity, and notice how both examples have the quantifier plus a verb in the genitive case. And the second two examples are genitives of quality, and they have another noun describing the noun plus an adjective in the genitive case. So hopefully you feel confident enough now to have a go at the following sentences. I've glossed the word sapientiae in the top right. So pause the video and have a go at translating these sentences. Now let's go through the answers. Modestus tabernam ingressus, Wilbiam conspexit. Modestus, having entered the shop, caught sight of Vilbia. Mercatores pecuniam adepti, ad naves contenderunt. The merchants, having obtained the money, hurried to the ships. Plus laboris, this means more work. Femina magnae sapientiae, a woman of great wisdom, or slightly more naturally, a very wise woman. So if you manage to get all four of those right, that is truly impressive, especially as these are tough grammatical topics. If you manage to achieve 2 or 3 correct answers, again, that is a really good effort there, and you've clearly understood the topics well. If you've only managed to score 1 out of 4, don't beat yourself up too much. That is still a valiant effort. Keep up the effort, and go back over those PAPs. I'm sure you'll get it. Okay, so well done so far. I'm now going to give you a break, and I'll translate the following model sentences, which incorporate the topics which we've looked at in today's video. Fur thermas corte intravit. A thief entered the baths carefully. Fur thermas ingressus, ad fontem sacrum festinavit. The thief, having entered the baths, hurried to the sacred fountain. Fur, prope fontem stans circumspectavit. The thief, standing near the fountain, looked around. Fur, senem conspicatus post columnam se calavit. The thief, having caught sight of an old man, hid himself behind a column. Senex, amuletum aureum tenens ad fontem processit. The old man, holding the gold amulet, advanced to the fountain. Senex manus ad caelum sustulit, et auxilium ad deasule petiwit. The old man held up his hand to the sky and sought for help from the goddess Sulis. Now you may not recognise the verb sustulit, and this is because it has an irregular stem, but it comes from the verb tolo, meaning to raise or lift. Senes deam precatus amuletum in fontem iniecit et exiit. The old man, having prayed to the goddess, threw his amulet into the fountain and went away. Fur, qui amuletum aureum viderat, ad fontem revenit. The thief, who had seen the gold amulet, returned to the fountain. Fur, ad fontem regressus, amuletum in aqua quaesivit. The thief, having returned to the fountain, searched for the amulet in the water. Fur amuletum adeptus ad tonitus legit. The thief, having obtained the amulet, read it astonished. Fur amuletum diaecit et e thermis per terratus fugit. The thief threw down the amulet and fled out of the baths, terrified. So we've now covered stage 22 of the CLC. So let's summarise. Perfect active participles are adjectives and agree in number, case and gender with their nouns. They look like PPPs, but they're translated by the words having instead of having been. And unfortunately, the only way to distinguish between a PPP and a PAP is to simply learn the list of PAPs separately. Sorry about that. And next, the genitive of quantity has a word indicating quantity, a quantifier, plus a noun in the genitive case. For example, multum aquae, much water. And finally, the genitive of quality. The noun is described by another noun and an adjective in the genitive case. For example, puella magnae prudientiae, a girl of great sense. So thanks for watching, and join me in my next video where I'll be covering stage 23 of the Cambridge Latin course.